Good afternoon, biologists. This is Mr. Boyd, wanting to give you a bit of an overview of your photographic arthropod collection assignment that you have just found out about here this week. Here we are in Facts LMS, scrolling down, and you can see the insect collection assignment right here. I want to walk through a bit about the assignment, show you how to use the online bug guide, go through my expectations for the assignment, and also I've decided to extend the due date to Friday, April 24th. I wanted to give you a few extra days to do that. Should be more than enough time to find 20 arthropods in and around your home and yard. This should be a fun activity. The goal here really being to get you guys outside, to not have this just be a read the chapter, answer the review questions kind of week, and wanting to do more of that here as spring unfolds and as we can continue to do Logos biology at home. And so let's go to this assignment here first. Just want to review the details and expectations. All you need: your camera, the online bug guide, or a hard copy of an insect field guide if you have one. You won't have the access to class crustacea and arachnid and other types of taxa if you're only using an insect guide, but there are some really good insect guides out there. Ken Kaufman in particular, I really like his insect guides, and there are some other good ones as well. Some well-known ones, including Audubon, have some excellent insect guides. The neat thing about the online insect guide, which I'll show you in a minute, called Bug Guide, bugguide.net, is that it really is a massive, storehouse for thousands and thousands and thousands of species. Okay, so usually an insect guide is going to be somewhat local, and there are so many species of invertebrates that a book is not going to have nearly as many as something like Bug Guide can have. So the goal is for you to find 20 arthropods, get photos of them, and identify them, the class, order, or family, depending on what I require below here. Insert those photos and labels and some distinguishing features into one Word document. And here you see the list of what's required. 1 crustacean, 2 either millipedes or centipedes, and 13 insects from these different family or order groups: the dragonflies, the beetles, the flies, the butterflies, the wasps, ants, and bees, and then what we call here are the bugs, the Hemiptera. That group is not discussed in your chapter, but you'll find out a lot about it through this bug guide. And then 2 additional insects surprise me, and 2 arachnids. Okay, so let's take a look at that document here really quickly. Pull that up. There we go. Really simple format. Name of the assignment on the top, your date, your name, and then the creatures. Okay, so you're first going to put the required taxa across the top, the distinguishing taxa. This is a crustacean, and it's a crayfish. You can key it out to species. You can work to try to use Bug Guide or other sources to try to identify it as finely as possible, moving down from class all the way to genus if possible. You're not required to do that, but you might enjoy doing it. It can be a lot of fun. An example of a crayfish around here is called the signal crayfish. Location, Latah County, is plenty of information there. Date found. Description of location. This gets into habitat. Okay, so Little Boulder Creek out there near Helmer is a great spot for crayfish. It was 100 yards from the bridge upstream. And then lastly, unique characteristics. And to be honest, unique characteristics and taxonomy are the two most important parts. I want you to connect those dots, right? So these are features that I should expect to see in a crustacean, especially in a decapod like a crayfish. 2 large chelipeds, those front pinchers, There are two body segments, a cephalothorax and an abdomen, unlike many arthropods that have three body segments. The cephalothorax is the fused head and thorax. See that in crabs, see that in crayfish and lobsters, see that in spiders. And then lastly, a pair of long antennae and a pair of short antennules. That's unique to this creature as well. And so one example of a crustacean, one example of a centipede. I don't have a common name for that centipede. We'll just call it centipede. And you'll know why this is not a millipede. You'll be learning about that in this unit. And that is in part because it has two legs per segment. 2 legs per segment in a centipede. And then my last example is one of the insects from order Insecta. And this is from the family of the hoverflies, a really cool creature, a beautiful little organism that looks like a bee. It's a bee mimic, and they truly hover. If you've watched insects fly, dragonflies or damselflies will hover, but bees and wasps do not hover. And so look for a hovering bee-like creature, and it might be a hoverfly. And you could put some notes like that on here as well. And some notes might be, you might have to work at getting these photos, guys. Be creative, have fun. Scoop up that centipede. It could bite you. Scoop it up and put it into a jar and then get a photo. All right, so you don't have to wait for them to sit still. Okay, let's go to the online bug guide. So here's bug guide. If we go home, this is what it looks like, and I think the easiest way to use, there's several ways to use this tool, but the easiest is to say, okay, my insect looks like this one, and you hover over the icon. It tells you what the common name of the group is, and you can go to that group. And so here are the flies, Diptera. Now you might know the name of your fly, or you might just know what it looks like. And so you could hover over the group. Oh, look, a bee mimic. Ah, perfect. Click on the bee mimic. Hey, this could be a hoverfly. And if you don't see any mention of hoverfly, you might want to check up here and type in hoverfly even. So we tried the photo route. We could continue that. If we knew enough about its taxonomy, we could keep going, but we're kind of stuck. So let's type hoverfly over here. Then there's a whole bunch of photos, and these have been labeled hoverfly. We'll find this is kind of a classic looking hoverfly right here. Notice the very strong venation in the clear wings. It really doesn't look like a bee when you look close up. Look at those massive compound eyes. And that is a hoverfly, genus Cirphus, and this group is actually called the Syrphidae. The Syrphidae are the hoverflies, the syrphid flies. And that's what I would put for its taxonomy. You can also scroll down and look at the list taxonomically. You can look at some helpful identification features and notice, again, that kind of distinct venation. And this is called a spurious vein. Here, note this very, very pronounced venation along the inside of that wing. Okay, so that's just one example. Let's try another one. Let's look for the world-famous roly-poly. I found a couple of arthropods to give as examples here. Took this photo just a few minutes ago outside, lifted up a slab of concrete outside my office, and here are a couple of roly-polies just cuddling under the concrete slab there, happy as can be until I disturb them. And we know what a roly-poly is, but we might not know its taxonomy. And so we go to our good friends here at Bug Guide, and we say, roly-poly, please. Roly-poly coming up, they say at Bug Guide. And look at these cool photos. Some really neat ones here. So enjoy the photography. That's a great view. Look at that. Tremendous look. And go figure, what is the name of this group? The pill bugs. They're called pill bugs, but even better, look at that family name. Armadillidae. Armadillidae. Armadillo. They really do look like a little invertebrate armadillo. So you can learn all kinds of things about them here. Couple of different species and different genera. You don't have to get them to genus, but go as far as you can. Go as far as you can. Okay, maybe one last example. If you do find a spider, and spiders can be very difficult to identify down to species, maybe you just know it's an arachnid. There's several groups in this class Arachnida, including scorpions and ticks and mites, and also good old-fashioned spiders. And daddy longlegs here, the harvestman. You should be able to find a harvestman around the house, but we want a spider. Araenidae. That is quite a spider. Goodness gracious. We don't have spiders like that around here. They're an interesting group. So we can look for a spider that looks most like ours. My photo is not that great. And so I'm just going to go back and say, you know, the best I can really do right now is order Araeniae. Maybe I can get a better photo later and try to do a more accurate job. But this is kind of a lame photo that I took. So try to do better than that one. You can see it's a spider. You can see its web, which is helpful. It's interesting that you capture the web. And this is interesting. This photo is more high quality and interesting because you're getting some habitat information as well, and even some behavior here. And so enjoy this. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be a fun alternative to a lot of handwritten work. So make the most of it. Enjoy yourself. And I look forward to seeing you guys when we're finally able to get back together again. Please contact me with any questions you might have. And we'll talk to you soon.